Hello friends. Welcome to Spinal Cord Injury TV. Here on this channel we promote spinal cord injury community, with their visuals, and analyze their everyday to-day activities. Let's share with you compilation daily life activities of paraplegia. Enjoy the series
Even
32.
if someone's legs don't work, that doesn't mean they can't stand. This is a standing frame and it allows people like me that are paralyzed to stand for long periods of time. A lot of people ask if sitting in a wheelchair all day hurts, and the answer is yes. There's a whole host of physical benefits of standing, including relieving pain for me personally. This standing frame even comes with a tray so you can do schoolwork or anything else while you're standing. Standing frames don't replace wheelchairs though, seeing as though you can't move once you're standing. But I'm super grateful to have this as an option too. How does it feel to stand as someone that's paralyzed? If you don't stand regularly, you definitely get used to being at a 4-foot level seated, so you feel like a giant. Now I'm 6 feet tall.
No.
We don't know that. We don't know that.
Hello friends. Welcome to Spinal Cord Injury TV. Here on this channel we promote spinal cord injury community, with their visuals, and analyze their everyday to-day activities. Crawling exercise is good and can be beneficial for people with paraplegia. Start on your hands and knees on a clean, flat surface. Make sure your knees are hip-width apart and your hands are shoulder-width apart. Engage your core muscles to stabilize your trunk. Avoid sagging in the middle. Slowly move one arm and the opposite leg forward in a crawling motion. Focus on keeping your movements controlled and coordinated. Try to use your arm strength to pull your body forward rather than just pushing with your leg. This helps strengthen the upper body. If you have limited arm strength, you can start by just moving your legs, dragging your body forward. Work up to using your arms as well. The key is to go at a pace that challenges you without causing pain or fatigue. Crawling helps improve core stability, upper body strength, and overall mobility for people with paraplegia. Consult with a physical therapist for personalized guidance.
I have a goal to walk with braces, but before you can walk, you have to be able to crawl. Due to the level of my injury and how high it is, crawling might honestly not even be possible. But in the meantime, I'm going to continue to give it a go. I don't know what my body's limitation is yet, but I'm going to keep trying and keep practicing and keep pushing until I find out.
Okay, first we're going to start with a cobra. Because we're seated all the time, this allows us to stretch out our hip flexors and really just open up the front half of our body. And then we're moving into serratus punches, which stabilize our shoulders. Moving quick into W's. We really need to strengthen our back muscles because we're always pushing forward. So the chicken wings, the T's, and the W's are all going to strengthen the little muscles in between our shoulder blades, help stabilize our shoulders. My T's are terrible, but you get it. And the swimmers, this is going to do some nice mobility of your shoulders. And then lastly, once again, we're just gonna go through Cobra. Make sure we're just opening up our hips, and then finish it off with some deep breathing to
Hello friends. Welcome to Spinal Cord Injury TV. Here on this channel we promote spinal cord injury community, with their visuals, and analyze their every day-to-day activities. Having an accessible home or visiting apartment is very important for wheelchair users. Some key factors to consider for an accessible apartment for wheelchair user. Wide doorways at least 32 inches, and hallways at least 5 feet wide, to allow for easy wheelchair maneuverability. No step or ramped entrances to the home and between rooms. Lowered countertops, cabinets, and light switches no higher than 48 inches that are reachable from a seated position. Accessible bathroom with a roll-in shower, lowered sink, and grab bars near the toilet. Reinforced walls to allow for future installation of additional grab bars as needed. Automatic or remote-controlled doors, windows, and appliances. Ample maneuvering space in each room, with furniture arranged for easy mobility. Hardwood, laminate, or low-pile carpet flooring for smooth wheelchair rolling. Emergency alert systems or smart home technology for safety and independence. The goal is to create a home environment that maximizes mobility, independence, and safety for the wheelchair user. Working with an occupational therapist or accessibility designer can help identify the right modifications for the individual's needs.
What is up, everyone? Recently I posted this video about my shower experience, and there was a lot of questions like, why didn't you enjoy what wasn't good about it? And let me explain why. When I first came here, I was super excited to see a fully accessible bathroom with lots of handrails, an accessible shower bench, and a shower head that I could hold by myself and could aim at the shower bench. However, there's a big fundamental flaw here with the way that this was built. This handbar makes no sense where it was placed. Not only does it dig into your spine when you sit there, it pushes you off the bench. I'm 105 pounds and 5'1", so I'm very tiny. I should be able to sit on this seat with ease, but I'll show you right away that is not the case. And my fiance actually had to brace me to help hold me on the seat so I wouldn't slip off, because when it gets wet, it was very slippery. Someone with a complete level injury would not have been able to sit on that. This would be good for someone who has, I would say, partially to full body control. Otherwise, it just wasn't a great option, and let me show you why. I'm gonna brace with my wheelchair here, but you can see that this bar is digging right into my spine, and not only is this incredibly painful for me because I had a fracture here, so that spot in my spine is very sensitive, but you can see that my bum is literally off of this seat right now, and the second that this got wet, it was incredibly slippery. Like I said, my fiance had to hold me here, so I would not consider this fully accessible. This is just a design flaw. I don't think it's necessarily a flaw with the whole hotel, though there is a bunch of other ones that I will showcase here for you in a moment, but this could be made a little bit better. This is what I would consider minimally accessible. I think a lot of places get away with deeming things accessible because they do what they think is right, and this just didn't meet the mark. This is the closet where we would hang all of our stuff. I can't reach there, it's way too high. The iron, the board, everything was in there, and nothing in here I could reach, so the only place I had to put my laundry and my clothes was in here. Keep in mind, again, I am very fortunate where I have someone who can help me all the time, but there's a lot of people who are in wheelchairs who are independent or want to be independent and travel alone. So I don't think that this would have been a great option if you were here for a long stay or like a vacation. This would have been good for a short stay and just to meet the bare minimum requirements. Again, this room is deemed accessible, but I consider it minimally accessible. This is our balcony, but as you can see, and I'll show a little clip here, how big this step is. I could never get over this by myself, obviously. The other thing that makes it very inaccessible is that I cannot open this by myself. Even if I wanted to open the window for fresh air, I couldn't because it's too hard to open. For someone with limited arm, hand, and core function, this just isn't accessible. And I'm going to show you one other thing. The other thing is how tight these spaces are. So to make this accessible, Ryan had to move this chair out of my way because it is very tight. Again, I have a very, very small wheelchair, so this is snug even for me. Anyone with a larger wheelchair, this would not be very accessible. I keep getting hung up on this. So that tight space doesn't really make that accessible either. And this isn't to bash this hotel. It did have a lot of good features. It obviously had elevator access. There was enough room in the bathroom for me to move and enough room for me to transfer into the bed on that side. There's just a few fundamental flaws, like I was saying. That's something that can be worked on, and I will showcase another hotel we stayed at. I think you just have to be able to pick and choose what you want. If you want an accessible room versus accessible amenities, and we'll go through
friends. Welcome to Spinal Cord Injury TV. Here on this channel we promote spinal cord injury community, with their visuals, and analyze their every day-to-day activities. There are different sport wheelchair for paraplegia or wheelchair users, such as tennis, basketball, racing and so on. Here in this video is day in life of a paraplegia using different sport wheelchair for sport activities.
This is a day in the life of a paraplegic, and I'm going racing today. We stayed over at my boyfriend's parents' house, which has an inaccessible bathroom because it's too narrow. So he scoots me in the doorway with this trick. But once I'm in the bathroom, I'm free to do my thing, including cathing. There's no pedestal sink, so I just have to pull up to the side to get as close as possible. I unfortunately need a lot of single-use plastics because of my disability, so I try to cut down on that by using sustainable toothpaste like I just showed. I have to get out of the bathroom using that same trick, and when it's time to leave, I'm able to use this ramp, thank goodness, because it was raining. Currently, I'm still forced to be passenger princess, and my boyfriend takes the wheelchair to the hatch. We drove an hour and a half to get to road racing because there's no closer adaptive sports, and I like the equipment and training to do it on my own. I sit in a kneeling position with my legs underneath me, which is why you don't see them here. It's still amateur hour for me, so if you have tips, please let me know. But they actually let me borrow the chair while I'm waiting on a group. This is an everyday manual wheelchair. Because I'm paralyzed, this is what I use to get around day to day. And this is a sports wheelchair, tennis specifically. They're much faster and more agile, used for specific activities, but there's pros and cons to both chairs, as I wouldn't use a sports chair for everyday use. Because the wheels on a sports chair are cambered, it makes the wheelchair too wide to fit through a lot of doorways. There's also no brakes on sports chairs, so it can make transfers a little bit more difficult, and also because of the seatbelt, it adds an extra step to the transfer process. I'm also unable to wheelie at all in a sports chair because of that little wheel back there, whereas in my normal everyday chair, I can wheelie to get over obstacles like this. Using different wheelchairs is the same as using different shoes for different activities, which is why I'll keep using my everyday chair. Because a group of boys made provoking comments about my wheelchair on the court today, I wanted to show you how I keep my wheelchair safe while I play tennis. I make sure not to leave my everyday wheelchair on the fence closest to the entrance. I leave it on the farthest fence. I'm an anxious person, so this just gives me peace of mind so that I can focus on what I want to do, not the wheelchair. This is a sports wheelchair, and here's how it's different from an everyday chair. As you can see, you can turn them much faster, and that's partly because of the angle or camber of the wheels. Because this is a tennis chair, the front caster wheels are also very small. There's also that fifth wheel in the back that prevents the wheelchair from tipping backwards. It also comes with a seatbelt and other straps to keep you locked in for safety, as well as making it slightly more responsive. There's also no extras like brakes to keep the weight down and therefore make it faster. However, because it is a tennis chair, it does come with that little bag there to store the balls. That's because I don't really have free hands to hold the balls, and I can hit them, sort of. I'm not that great, but it is fun. A lot of people think that just because you're paralyzed, you can't ride a bike. So I wanted to show how my bike works as someone that is paralyzed. It's a power assist hand bike, so I have to turn the battery on first, and that just makes it easier to push, especially if you're off-road. And also because it is quite a large bike. And then I just strap my legs in and attach the seatbelt. So like I said, it is a hand bike, so that means you hold on to the hand cranks to simultaneously push. There's also a throttle if you need it to. And to steer, you just turn the hand cranks. And then lastly, when you're done, you just turn everything off.
Hello friends. Welcome to Spinal Cord Injury TV. Here on this channel we promote spinal cord injury community, with their visuals, and analyze their every day-to-day activities. Let's analyze suitable exercises for paraplegic in this video. Here are some tips for exercising as a paraplegic. 1. Focus on upper body and core strength. Without use of the lower body, building upper body and core strength is crucial. Exercises like wheelchair push-ups, rows, shoulder presses, and abdominal exercises are excellent. 2. Incorporate cardiovascular exercise. Wheelchair pedaling, arm ergometers, and wheelchair-based HIIT workouts can get your heart rate up. Aim for at least 150 minutes of moderate intensity cardio per week. 3. Include flexibility and range of motion exercises. Stretching and mobility work can help maintain joint health and prevent stiffness. Pay attention to your shoulders, chest, and back. 4. Gradually increase intensity and duration. Start slowly and build up your endurance and strength over time. Listen to your body and don't overexert yourself. 5. Ensure proper wheelchair fit and positioning. Work with a professional to optimize your wheelchair setup for comfort and stability during exercise. Remember, consistency and patience are key. Celebrate small victories and don't be afraid to modify exercises as needed. The most important thing is to stay active and maintain your health. Hello friends. Welcome to Spinal Cord Injury TV. Here on this channel we promote spinal cord injury community, with their visuals, and analyze their everyday to-day activities. Adaptive clothing is an important consideration for those with paraplegia. Features like rear entry garments that are easy to put on and take off, Velcro or magnetic closures instead of buttons, zippers, fabrics that are soft, breathable, and stretchy for easy movement, pants, skirts with higher waistbands for sitting, tops that are long enough to cover the midsection when seated. The goal is clothing that allows independence, comfort, and style for those with limited mobility or who use a wheelchair. Many mainstream and specialty brands now offer adaptive fashion lines to meet these needs. The key is finding pieces that balance function and personal preferences.
So this is my look. This is me look. I just did like a simple ponytail. Me hice una colita.
Do a spin. Do a spin.
Sencilla.
Do a spin for us.
Do a spin, he says. Date una vuelta. Check it out.
Dang, girl.
You want to see my shoes?
You got the purple shoes and everything.
Yeah.
You got the purple shoes. She ain't messing around.
Hi guys, hola chicos. We had a great day here at VidCon, and this is my look of the night. Tuvimos un día muy exitoso aquí en VidCon, la pasamos súper bien y este es mi atuendo de la noche. Check out my earrings, my necklace, check out my makeup. And I love this dress. Me encanta este vestido. Me encantan los colores. I just love all the colors. And I'm wearing these shoes because I have to be careful with my foot. It's still injured, as you can see. So there's not a lot of shoes I can wear right now. No, ahorita no hay muchos zapatos que me pueda poner. But this is the look. And we are ready to go party and have a good time. Estamos listos para ir a la fiesta y pasarla bien.
Hello friends. Welcome to Spinal Cord Injury TV. Here on this channel we promote spinal cord injury community, with their visuals, and analyze their day-to-day activities. Carrying out some house chores as a paraplegic can be a special task on its own, been confined to wheelchair, from cleaning to laundry and cooking. Break tasks into smaller steps to avoid fatigue. Use sliding boards or transfer boards to move between surfaces. Ask family members or aides for help with heavier or higher tasks. Invest in ergonomic tools and adaptive equipment. Pace yourself and take breaks as needed. The key is finding ways to modify your techniques and environment to make household chores more accessible from a seated position. Consulting an occupational therapist can also provide personalized recommendations.
Hi, I'm Carrie, and I have a spinal cord injury leaving me paralyzed from the chest down. And this is how I put on a fitted sheet. I am very blessed to be completely independent and live by myself, which is amazing. But unfortunately, that means I also have to do my own chores. And my least favorite among them is putting on this dang fitted sheet because it pops off all the time. So this is how I do it, and it's not great, but she gets the job done. So I start in the back corner and I tuck everything as far as I can, and then this takes a lot of maneuvering around with moving my legs and my body. Say hello to Rex. He was really active today. After we get all of the corners tucked as far as we can, I get back in the chair to kind of finish. And again, it's not the best, but let me know if you have any tips or tricks.
Well, shocking update for everyone. The chores you hated before do not get any easier when you are disabled. So here we are throwing everything in, and then we have to use these nifty grabbers to turn the top and be able to do our settings. And then here I am using all three of me to open that dryer door. And yeah, so anything I can reach, I lean over and just grab it as far as I can. And then anything that I can't reach, I go back to those trusty grabbers. And here I am using the wrong arm, and then I realize that that's uncomfortable, and I switch to the right. So once again, we have to go up to the top to change it, and I am fighting for my life to try to turn this. But we are persevering, and here I am almost done. Look at my face, shows the struggle that this one task did, but we did it. Hey, I'm Carrie, and I am paralyzed from the chest down and a wheelchair user. So let's put together my shower bench. I am sure that you guessed it already. This is how I take a shower. I just moved back to California and my apartment has a tub, so this is what I use to clean myself. And fun fact, the insurance company deemed it not medically necessary, even though there's literally no other way for me to take a shower. So I had to pay out of pocket for this, and it was about $200 on Amazon. And for what? They name it medical equipment so they can charge way more money. This is also the second shower bench that I've had to buy in my year and a half-ish of being paralyzed. So $200 every year for the rest of my life is quite a bit of money because these companies suck. So anyway, this is your daily reminder that the healthcare system as we know it is not good, and it is really stinking expensive to be disabled trying to exist in this world. All right, have a great day.
Hello friends. Welcome to Spinal Cord Injury TV. Here on this channel we promote spinal cord injury community, with their visuals, and analyze their every day-to-day activities. Putting on pant as a paralyzed person, some find it easier laying on bed, while some can do it on sofa or on their wheelchair independently. Some guides that can help you navigate to achieve putting on pant easily is paraplegia. 1. Sit on the edge of a firm, stable surface like a bed or chair. This will make it easier to maneuver your legs. 2. Lay the pants out in front of you, with the waistband closest to you and the legs facing away. 3. Lift one leg at a time and guide it into the corresponding pant leg. Use your hands to help manipulate your leg if needed. 4. Once both legs are in, pull the pants up over your hips and bottom, fastening the waistband as needed. 5. Practice the technique. It may take some time to get the coordination and muscle memory down. The key is to go slowly, use assistive devices, and find a method that works best for your individual needs and abilities.
How do I put my pants on as a paralyzed person? This is a question I get all the time, and I thought I would share you guys here today. A lot of paralyzed people find it easier to get dressed in bed. I do not. I think it makes it much harder to fight and pull clothing against friction from the bedding, so I just get dressed in my chair. I equate putting pants on now to putting pants on a baby. You just gotta get the legs, put them in, wiggle them around till they're in the right spot. So obviously I've sped this up, but it can take anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes to put on my jeans, and that's with like a good hand day. This is a perfect day, so you can imagine if I'm in pain or having bad hand days, this takes much longer. Alright, now that I got them this far, this is obviously the hardest part, and that's to pull them up over my bum. So it's just a lot of like maneuvering and getting as much of the material to my hips as possible. And then I reach behind and I find the back belt loop. And I pull it up like that. I don't have great grip strength when I reach behind, so that's why I use the belt loops to my advantage. And I have to make sure I'm not leaning too far forward or I will fall out of my chair. So, just like that. And buttons and zippers can be hard for me, but I've gotten really good at figuring out how to do it by myself. And there you have it. That's how I get my pants on.
Friends, welcome to Spinal Cord Injury TV. Here on this channel we promote spinal cord injury community, with their visuals, and analyze their every day-to-day activities. Let's see how one can switch from a manual wheelchair to power wheelchair using smart drive device in this
I use
video.
a manual wheelchair, but what if I said I could temporarily turn it into a power chair? This is called a smart drive attachment, and it eliminates the need to push. This is how it works. You switch it on and it attaches to the bottom of the camber tube underneath a manual wheelchair. I've never been able to do it independently, although some people can. Once it's on the camber tube, you attach the cable, and the cable connects the smart drive to the dial, which is how you control the smart drive. So then I squeeze the dial to turn it on, and then if you click the dial forward, it will start pushing for you. And the further you click it forward, the faster it goes, although it wasn't made to actually go fast. So as you can see, I'm not pushing, that's the smart drive. Still, you do need to hold on to the push rims to steer, or else this might happen. And of course, to slow down, you just click the dial backwards and it starts slowing, or if you click it all the way backwards, it stops. So this little thing is really helpful when you're traveling cities, especially because it was covered through insurance. And when you remove it, it just turns right back into a manual wheelchair. So why do I use a manual wheelchair when I could use a power chair? For the most part, a manual wheelchair allows me to traverse a lot of inaccessible environments, more so than a power chair could. I could go up and down steps, go off-road to some degree, and also fit through slightly narrower doorways because power chairs are usually a little bit wider. You could also maneuver narrow doorways with this trick, as I show. Manual chairs are also much lighter, meaning you don't necessarily need a wheelchair van, which are very expensive. You can just disassemble or reassemble the chair. And lastly, you can get more exercise with a manual chair, but not everyone can use a manual wheelchair. I can, so that's why I do, because there's so many reasons that they do have an advantage, especially in an inaccessible Unfortunately, world. this hotel balcony has an unusual step, so this is how I'm still able to maneuver it in my wheelchair. I pop a wheelie and place my casters on the other side of the ledge. Then I hold onto the push rims and I push my rear wheels past the step. And then of course, I'm free to people watch from the balcony. And coming back, it's the same process in reverse. Even though I make videos showing how I maneuver things in my wheelchair, I am not an expert. And my failed first attempt videoing how I tried to get over this doorway was a prime example of this. I popped a wheelie to put my casters on the other side of the step and attempted to push up the step, but my wheels just weren't cooperating.
Have you should have done a doorway pull?
Huh?
Doorway pull?
I've tried that, and for some reason it doesn't really work.
Then I thought I wasn't pushing enough, so I tried pushing harder. So my body was moving forward, but my chair wasn't, clearly. Hashtag home. I only use one arm. What do? Do I just go in circles? The answer is sort of. If I go fast, only pushing with one arm, yes, I will make a circle. But if you go slow, you can kind of go straight, or you can use the one arm and push both wheels like I'm showing here. I can even wheelie with one arm. Of course, another option could be a one-arm drive, which is designed to help you push with only one hand. And it attaches like this push rim on the same wheel around that area that I'm showing here. But luckily, I don't need that. Happy wheelies! Are my legs stiff because I'm in a wheelchair? Not exactly. I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which usually means that we are overly flexible naturally. So I rarely feel the need to stretch, and my legs will basically do whatever I want them to do. My shoulders, on the other hand, are a different story. When you start using a wheelchair, your upper body is like on overdrive, and your shoulders definitely get very tight, EDS or not, for me anyway. So these are the stretches I commonly do, probably daily. And that was a good question because a lot of wheelchair users actually do struggle with tightness. Is it okay to ask a wheelchair user if they need help? Especially if you see them struggling or falling, I absolutely don't think it is inappropriate or rude to offer help. I think the most important part is to ask before assuming and giving someone help that they don't need, like pushing their wheelchair by the push handles. If someone does agree to receiving help, the next follow-up question should be, how can I help? Just to make sure that you're giving the right kind of help. But if someone does say no, help is not necessary, it is best to listen to them and respect that. As someone that goes to New York a lot, I wanted to talk about the accessibility of their subway. Only about 1 in 4 subway stations in New York are wheelchair accessible, and that's assuming that all of the elevators are actually functioning, which isn't usually the case. This makes it difficult for disabled tourists to navigate the city, and of course disabled New Yorkers as well. So unfortunately, this just means that you have to walk extra or pay to get a lift, which sucks and ends up taking more time.
Hello friends. Welcome to Spinal Cord Injury TV. Here on this channel we promote spinal cord injury community, with their visuals, and analyze their every day-to-day activities. Either wheelchair seat-up cardio routine or visiting the gym center to work out, both are very much okay. Engage in whichever that suits you as individual with paraplegia. Many gym center have specialized wheelchair accessible cardio machines like recumbent hand cycles, wheelchair ellipticals, and seated steppers. These allow you to get your heart pumping while seated. The key is finding activities you enjoy that get your heart pumping for 20 to 30 minutes, 3 to 5 times per week. Start slow, listen to your body, and gradually increase the intensity and duration of your workouts over time. Consulting a physical therapist can also help design a safe and effective cardio routine.
Okay, y'all, if you're a student athlete and you're looking for an easy at-home, no equipment, quick cardio circuit, then keep watching. This is for you. Our first movement is a seated twist, and you really want to make sure you rotate through your core and not just your shoulders. We have 60 of these. All right, and moving on into adaptive jumping jacks, 50 total. We're going for speed here with this workout. All right, after that, we're gonna move into swimmers or arm swings. You really wanna keep your core engaged as best you can, and we have 40 total here. Last but not least, we have ground to overhead press or chair burpees with a total of 30. After you complete all 4 movements, you're gonna take a 30-second break and then repeat for 3 rounds. Enjoy. Okay, so my shoulders are absolute crap from years of softball, so let's help them out a little bit. All of this is going to take one band because who's got time for large programs? So first up, we got external rotation, and then we're going to do pull-aparts at the shoulder level. All of these movements are going to focus on strengthening the rotator cuffs, which are little and attached to your shoulder, and help keep it in place. Keep that ball in the socket. On this one, you want to make sure you actually keep tension as you go overhead and back down. And I know none of these movements seem like a big deal, but it doesn't take a lot to strengthen your shoulders and help prevent injuries. So that's all I got. Okay, and try not to get hurt. Bye. Are you looking to improve your balance and your core strength? Then you have to try out these kettlebell curl to overhead presses. Thanks to the instability of the kettlebell and using both arms at the same time, your core, your shoulders, and your balance are being challenged.
I want to remind you, doing something little by little is so much better than doing nothing at all.
Hello friends. Welcome to Spinal Cord Injury TV. Here on this channel we promote spinal cord injury community, with their visuals, and analyze their everyday to-day activities. Manual wheelchair are often limited to only paved environment, but using freewheel can help you navigate through other non-paved environment. In this video let's see how this paraplegic lady navigates through using the freewheel on her manual wheelchair.
Manual wheelchairs are often limited to only paved environments, but this is a freewheel and it clamps onto the footplate to allow the wheelchair user to traverse slightly bumpier or uneven terrain. It lifts up those casters and replaces it with one larger pneumatic wheel. As you can see, once you clamp the freewheel onto the footplate and turn it around, it lifts those small wheels called casters off the ground, and then you're able to steer and push the wheelchair as normal. It's not meant to be a complete solution to going off-road in a wheelchair, but it's a nice intermediary tool. The pneumatic wheel provides a smoother ride, and because you're less likely to get stuck on hazards, it basically eliminates the need for a wheelie. The best part is that it's removable so that you can still maneuver everyday life.
Hello friends. Welcome to Spinal Cord Injury TV. Here on this channel we promote spinal cord injury community, with their visuals, and analyze their everyday to-day activities. CAFO stands for knee ankle foot orthosis, which is a type of orthotic device used to support and stabilize the knee, ankle, and foot. While CAFOs are more commonly associated with conditions like lower limb weakness or paralysis due to neurological disorders or injuries, they can also be used by individuals with paraplegia, particularly for specific purposes. CAFOs may be utilized for individuals with paraplegia, which gives ambulation support. In some cases, individuals with paraplegia may have partial leg function or limited mobility. CAFOs can provide support and stability to the lower limbs, allowing for assisted ambulation using assistive devices like walker. It's important to note that the use of CAFOs for individuals with paraplegia should be assessed and prescribed by healthcare professionals, such as orthotists, physical therapists, or physicians specializing in spinal cord injury rehabilitation. They can evaluate the individual's condition, functional abilities, and goals to determine the most appropriate orthotic intervention and ensure proper fit, function, and safety.
I had to have a new KFO made because my leg has atrophied too much and my old KFO no longer fits. And it's too big by a lot, by more than a couple inches. As you can see here, I can fit my whole arm beside my leg in the brace, and this is as tight as it can go, so it's not offering the stability I need to walk accurately, so we needed a new one. We had to go right back to the beginning, so I had to have my leg recasted for my new brace. They couldn't use my old cast because it was just far too big. This is the mold, so my new KFO will look exactly like my old one. It will be pink. Again, this is just the casting mold that they're using to make sure they have an accurate fit. Here they're going through all the markings, making sure that everything fits good. There's a few places that need to be taken in some more and some places that need to be cut down, so that is what they're marking here, and just checking to relieve any kind of pressure areas that are happening with this brace. Now they're just marking where to trim down the toe. I did get these shoes for my wedding. They were supposed to be my wedding shoes, but unfortunately Dave doesn't think that the brace my foot is going to fit in this, even though I sized up. This was my last fit check with my new KFO before the wedding. Over the last year, I've suffered a lot of atrophy and needed a new KFO to help me walk at my wedding. The KFO is a knee, foot, ankle orthotic, and it just helps solidify my leg so I'm able to walk and stand a little bit better since that leg is completely paralyzed. I put my new KFO inside my old one so you guys can really see how much my leg has shrunk over the last year, and that's just kind of the nature of this injury. My puppies love when these leg braces come out though, because they think it's time to do physical therapy and walk. It's kind of like play for them. I think she approves. So I love this pair of Nikes so much because it perfectly matched my wedding dress, but they were too snug, so I had to buy two separate pairs of shoes, but it all worked out and I finally have my wedding shoes. It's time to get wedding ready. I think like most people, I got a little stagnant over the summer, just enjoying the summer and the weather. So now it's time to get back in shape. I start with cardio, which is a really fast-paced walk for me outside, and then I come in and play with the dogs. Next, I wake up my legs by using my Paraplate. It just increases circulation and helps get those nerves pumping. I'm really working on getting my good leg nice and strong for the wedding, so that's why I'm not wearing my other leg brace. I'm just trying to focus on my strong leg. I'm also trying to increase my weight bearing tolerance because when I'm upright or putting any weight on my spine, I'm in excruciating pain, so I'm hopeful that this will help with that. Then, like any good workout, I finish with a stretch and a cool down. Again, my back and my hips have been so tight. I really got to work on them, so this stretch kills me. Tummy time is my worst time, but probably the most beneficial. I'm walking outside today for the very first time since, the day of my accident. That's right, I've not walked outside since August 17th of 2020, and I'm super excited because I need to get really strong because in a few months, it is my wedding. My wedding is outside, and I need to learn to walk in the grass. So this is my very first attempt, day one of learning to walk in the grass. Ryan proposed to me while I was still in the hospital, and I knew I was walking down that wedding aisle. No matter what it took, I was going to do it. And it's what I've been working toward over the last few years, but I didn't anticipate it to be this hard. The moment I went to push that walker and felt the resistance, I was like, oh crap, am I going to be able to do this? There was so much resistance between that and not being able to pick my leg up enough to get over the grass. I was really starting to panic this first round that I was not going to be able to do it, but it was my first try after all. Just pray to the universe for good things, and we're going to troubleshoot and go for round 2. And that is exactly what we did. Ryan had put these foam pads on my sliders when we first got it, just to make it easier to glide over the floor in my house. So we took those off, and he remembered I still had a slider on one of my old shoes, so we put that on. I use these regularly at physical therapy, and it just really helps to glide over the floor, and apparently the grass, because it really worked. This was still incredibly challenging, and I will need lots of practice, but I think I can do it. And then I got to share this beautiful moment with Ryan. I forget sometimes how tall he is and how comforting he is, and I miss this so much. If I could have stayed in this moment with him forever, I would have. Well, that didn't really go as planned, but I'm not going to get discouraged because that was my very first time trying that. And it will only get better. I have a few months to practice. We'll do work on it every day, and I'm walking down that way.
Welcome to Spinal Cord Injury TV. Here on this channel we promote spinal cord injury community, with their visuals, and analyze their everyday to-day activities. Either wheelchair seat-up cardio routine or visiting the gym center to work out, both are very much okay. Engage in whichever that suits you as individual with paraplegia. Many gym centers have specialized wheelchair-accessible cardio machines like recumbent hand cycles, wheelchair ellipticals, and seated steppers. These allow you to get your heart pumping while seated. The key is finding activities you enjoy that get your heart pumping for 20 to 30 minutes, 3 to 5 times per week. Start slow, listen to your body, and gradually increase the intensity and duration of your workouts over time. Consulting a physical therapist can also help design a safe and effective cardio routine. Hello friends. Welcome to Spinal Cord Injury TV. Here on this channel we promote spinal cord injury community, with their visuals, and analyze their everyday to-day activities. Day in life of a paraplegic lady is college student and her visit to New York as wheelchair user. Paraplegic lady narrating her daily life activities as wheelchair user in this
This is a day in the
video.
life of a paralyzed college student. I'm still waiting on my car to be adapted so I can drive, so currently I'm still passenger princess. I take the elevator up even though it's constantly beeping for some reason. But anyway, I'm an occupational therapy assistant student. We're working on mobilizing the shoulder blade, so I'm just practicing that here. Classes ended around 3, but I stayed behind to study, and we arrived back home around 6. And after that, I just binged TV shows and went to sleep around 12. After sitting down all day at school in my wheelchair, I usually don't go out afterward, including salons. Everything takes me longer than the average able-bodied person, and inaccessibility compounds that. Sometimes it's much easier just to stay at home and be able to count on that stable environment. It shouldn't ever be that way, but sometimes it is, and you just need a break. So I really enjoyed using this at-home mask set from Mira. Today I used the eye mask set with this purple pulsing R3 turbo device. It was such a fun experience, but it also didn't take as long as it would have if I went to a salon. It really woke me up, and it also depuffed my eye. If you'd like the same convenient, at-home, accessible device, check out Amiro's spring sales. Details linked below. Come with me to New York as a wheelchair user. It's a 6-hour drive, so I put a cushion on the car seat. The first bathroom we stopped at wasn't accessible, but the second one was. And unfortunately, it did start pouring, but we ended up making it to New York alright. On arrival, I realized that the wheelchair-accessible Airbnb actually did have a step, but it ended up being okay, and it was really cute. We ate lunch at Joe's Pizza, and then we took the subway. And a part of the subway was actually so steep, it had this sign that said it wasn't wheelchair accessible, and one of the subway performers was actually a fellow Crip, which was pretty cool. Getting off the subway, I went to the Museum of Sex with my mom, which was really fun. And by then it was already pretty late, so we returned to the Airbnb and I took a shower, which was stepless entry, and I just brought a little shower bench, and then it was just sleepy time. This is a realistic day in the life visiting New York as a wheelchair user. First things first, I hook up my smart drive because the sidewalks here are crooked. If you don't already know, the smart drive just basically makes me go vroom vroom. We had a bit of a rocky start because the closest subway elevator to the hotel was under construction. Since my mom can't walk far, we took a lift to the next nearest elevator. It's wild how many people actually try to edge wheelchair users out of the elevators that they had to put a sign up. Once we're actually in the subway, it's actually pretty fun sometimes because of subway performers like this and people watching. I know people say it's overrated, but we did stop at Joe's Pizza for lunch because my mom really likes it, and it is good. In typical fashion, we did forget a couple things, so we just stopped at the store to pick that up. We also made our way to Chelsea Market, which was kind of confusing to get into the accessible entrance, but it's alright. We got it figured out, sort of. But there was definitely a lot of unique small business stuff there. I know the day recounted like this sounds very chaotic and honestly stressful, and it can be, but it also can be very fun. The uncertainty of New York will never leave you bored. Some might assume I can't open doors, and while some doors are heavier than others, I've never met a door I couldn't open, being given enough time. Some people might be scared to hold doors for wheelchair users, but personally, I'll almost always accept. Most people don't see it as offensive. This is how I can push carts in a wheelchair. A lot of people underestimate what wheelchair users can do, but randomly enough, my supposed inability to push carts was a big reason why I was told I couldn't work in hospitals. But it's actually not that difficult to do at all. I just push with my wheelchair on one hand, and I grab the cart with the other. Sometimes it's others' expectations that limit people, when really the best thing to do is ask someone what they can do and how.
Please kindly click subscribe. Thanks for your support.